So good morning, everybody, and you're very welcome to this morning's information webinar about our new AI Accelerator short course. My name's Denise McLaughlin, and I work as part of the team here in LAA. And I'm delighted to be joined here today by our speaker, Scott Wilkinson from Brightbeam, who will also be delivering the course. And Scott brings a wealth of experience to the course, having built 3 agencies servicing some of the world's largest consumer financial services and B2B clients as well. So registrations for this course are now open and the course will kick off on the 10th of February. And just in terms of what we'll be going through during the webinar, I'll be giving you a high-level overview of the course delivery, and then Scott is going to take you through an overview of what the course is about, the lecture content, and the modules within the course. And then at the end, we'll have time for a Q&A for any of your questions. So the course will consist of a full year of AI training, and it's going to start off with 6 live 1-hour lectures commencing in February. And we've broken these lectures down into 1-hour sessions, really just to allow people to, I suppose, keep up and not to lose focus, and then they'll be able to apply their learning directly to their work then. The lectures will be recorded and they'll be available to watch back on LIA Elevate. And then these lectures will be followed by 2 live update sessions held later in the year. So the aim of these is to really just keep your knowledge current with the latest AI developments. And then the first session will take place in approximately 5 months, and the second update will take place around early next year. So after the 6 live lectures, you can go and really apply the knowledge you've gained to your business. And then when it's time for the update sessions, you'll be able to see what's changed in AI at that point, and then you'll be able to ask any questions that you might be unsure of. So then just in terms of assessment, there'll be no exams or assessments. It's a very practical course, so it focuses on ongoing upskilling. And another benefit is, that you'll have access to all the recordings for 12 months. So you'll have access up until around February of next year. And then just in terms of fees for the course, so the cost for this course is about €600 for LA members and €700 for non-members. And we're also delighted to announce that we've secured funding of 45% with Tech Northwest SkillNet. Now, this funding is limited, so there's about 40 places for it, and it's going to be allocated on a first-in-line basis. So more information will be available on how to apply for that on our AI Accelerator course webpage in the next day or so. And we will be issuing an email to everybody who has registered for the webinar with further information on it as well. So just please keep your eyes peeled for that. And we're also delighted to say that we've confirmed the course will be valid for 5 CPD hours. And this is going to be split between this year and next year. So 4 hours CPD will be awarded in 2026. And then 1 hour will be awarded next year in 2027. If you do have any questions during the webinar, as I mentioned, just pop them into the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen and we'll answer them at the end. And now I'll hand you over to Scott, who'll tell you a bit more about himself and about a bit more about the course as well. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, I am Scott Wilkinson. I bill myself as one of the original digital natives. I started programming as ZX81 in the eponymous year. And I've kind of been working in digital ever since, although I did start my career as a financial journalist. So that was the first thing I did out of the gate, and kind of, doing a lot of personal finance as well. So absorbed myself in somewhat of your world, obviously not completely, but certainly covered a lot of the topics that you deal with. And I've gone on to work in a digital capacity via my agencies that I've created, people like Nestle, Richemont, Virgin. I might even have worked quite a bit directly with Mr. Branson himself. But now what I'm doing kind of almost feels like the culmination of my career is, I was there in the dot-com boom. I created an agency, age 26, fresh out of being a journalist. And, we did really great things. But now, obviously, the AI boom is even bigger. We were digitizing information back in the day. And now we're digitizing intelligence. So I'm working at Brightbeam at the forefront of that. And I have to say that I'm having the absolute time of my life. And I want to show you today, give you how we can help you translate that into your regulated industry in terms of what you're doing. So I'm hoping that I can tell you why AI is relevant to you, discover what it can do for you and your firm. We will have a good rummage around in the content so you know what to expect. And obviously, yeah, as said, do ask any questions. So first thing, look at me with my jab hands. Lots of people very, very excited. Some people saying, is it a bubble? And it might be. But underneath that, there's still some real capability. But I just want to put it in context for you to say, why people are excited, and rational, sober people are also excited about AI because of what it delivers and what it allows us to do. Effectively, for financial advisors and planners, it means you can have higher performance practices. We've had enough experience now and enough studies to know that this isn't just a hope. We know that this is true. We know from the Fidelity report that advisors that embrace technology have a high efficiency, stronger growth. They can perform better. They can offer better client experiences. And actually, the people that work there enjoy working there more. I think this IntelliFlow kind of stat might be a little bit overblown and talk about, what's the average typical advice firm, but there's no question that you can save a lot of time by using AI. And also you can say, is it cause and effect, or is it just correlation? But it does seem that that practices that use a lot of technology seem to grow more quickly. Now, it may be that they then need to use more. They're growing more quickly, therefore they need to use more technology, or the technology, which is what this stat's trying to imply, means that they grow more quickly. I can't tell you which is cause and effect, but I do know that there's at least a correlation. And I also know, because I am training this stuff with my team every day, that AI does get measurable benefits, because on corporate engagements with large corporates in regulated industries, we take a baseline of where people start, and then we do another survey and deep dives in terms of where they're finished to try to work out what the skill set is, what they're doing differently, and what the ROI for the business is. Now, I can tell you that in every single instance, we see efficiency gains, people spending less time, reducing costs because more stuff can be done in-house. Yeah. And actually, we see a lower churn of people leaving the business, because I can confirm that if you've mastered AI, you've got rid of all of that schleck, all of that inefficient work that you're doing. You've offloaded all of that cognitive load to an AI, or to the AI tools that you have within the business, and you're happier, and that reduces churn. But the kicker that people often forget is that this is married with higher quality. Yeah, you can be more innovative, but even if you're not going to do new and different things, you can make better decisions, because you can cast your net wider. You can do your analysis more deeper. So you will find that the quality of your output increases. And that means that the NPS scores, your customer experiences, as that stat's implying, will improve. And obviously, we know that NPS and growth and margin are positively correlated. So it will help the fundamentals of your business. And ultimately, you'll end up doing more with the same group of people. There is no one that we have worked with that has let people go as a result of AI. Why? Because each person becomes more productive. And so the same people can do greater output of a higher quality. And where we are now is that there's a compounding cost of not adopting. If you're not using AI, your competitors will be. And therefore, you standing still, whilst they go off on potentially an exponential curve in terms of their efficiency, their quality, and their volume, you're suddenly not competing in the same way. At a macro scale, people are calling it the K economy, that people that adopt are going up and improving their competitive, and people that are not, by standing still, effectively their competitive slips. And that's the idea behind the K economy, if you ever see that. But the good news is that To get on the right point of the K, the upward part of the K, the top leg, it's actually easy to achieve. Adoption is not complex. We're only talking about in-browser applications. Yep. So we've all got the core technology that we need to access these things. And the best thing is that why there's so much excitement is because AI has what we call adaptive cognitive fit. That just means that it adapts, it adjusts to the way that each of us think. It doesn't, it's not like Excel, which, I love Excel as much as the next person. I'm sure there are many Excel fans, or at least very, very proficient users on this webinar. However, it does need precision. You do need to get those equations right. There's only one form of syntax normally for each cell that will actually get the result that you want. There are different approaches, but effectively that syntax for each of them has to be correct. AI is not like that. Yeah, AI gets the gist of what you want. We'll do a draft for you. You can say, "Oh, less like this, more like this." It'll improve it, and you can continue to iterate. And whether you think one way and I think another way, we are both going to get to the same result. But by using different words, we don't have to be precise. And that adaptive cognitive fit is why it's just, AI is just taken off and there's so much interest in it. And that means that however sophisticated you are, you can make it work. However sophisticated your knowledge, yeah. However, we do want to take you from perhaps just using it for Google-like inquiries, single prompts, that get kind of reasonable output. Lots of people I've coached over the last couple of years have said, well, I'm using it already. I don't know what you can teach me because it's all right. And what the excitement's about, if I'm absolutely honest. I use it, it's okay. You're not using it right. Yeah, because with the proper training, it can, you can go so much further. However, it's great that you need no training to start. Yeah, you can gain a little bit of confidence. You can see what works and then move it on. It does cater for a range of sophistication levels. Obviously, most people have now got personal experience with the tech because, a lot of us are using it in our personal lives as well, at least occasionally. It's not expensive given the benefits that we're getting out of AI, the cost that we're spending. It might not last forever, but right now there's a real value chasm that's working in our favor. So those are the reasons why it's easy to it's easy to adopt, but you stick at it because it really does hook into some core evolutionary things in your psychology. Yeah. If you're a curious person, yeah, you're going to find that it satisfies your curiosity. I literally now have no questions because they've all been answered. The moment I have a question, what's that? I ask AI and I know. So as soon as I get a bout of curiosity, it's satisfied, at least, in my next break, if it's not a professional question. It's also, ease is kind of built into us. We want, by being lazy, if you like, it reduces the amount of energy and is good from an evolutionary point of view. Conserving your energy, using less than you need, using the least that you need to, yep, is just efficient. So it does make things easy. Yeah, it does increase that. And that chimes in with the way that we're programmed. We also like success. And using AI can help with that. And it get that feeling of being successful. People like control. It does give you control. It also gives you mastery over stuff. And ultimately, it all adds up to more enjoyment at work. So obviously, as I've said, that's great and all those benefits are there. But to really mind them, we do need training. Yeah. The more we are exposed to training, the more we know how to use it. Yeah. Then the bigger benefits we get and the bigger benefits we take back to our companies as well. That's that there from Profile Tree. Companies report a 43 productivity improvement when employees are adequately trained versus much lower gains from untrained users. My experience, and we are doing proper training, is that might be slightly overcalling it. However, there is a big difference. And in some realms, in terms of some things, there are just things that on this course, we will enable you to do. We will show you how to do that. It would take you a long time to discover it yourself. So this is a massive shortcut. And for the money, I've got to say, I think it's I think it's great value. And that cost of standing still is there with that PwC stat that there are jobs that are AI exposed. This is one of them. What you do is AI exposed. I'm going to teach you how to use AI. It can help with many of the tasks that you do on a daily basis. And that means that to be effective, the skill set is changing. And that's what that PwC stat is talking to there. So the coaching is also needed because people need to overcome their very rational, very real, and very right fears. Of course, we should be worried about confidentiality. Of course, we should be worried about data protection. This is a regulated industry. Things have to be done right within the correct constraints. And people ultimately, are often concerned that without the training, they're going to make mistakes. So again, by coming on the course, coming on the AI Accelerator, we will deal with all of those, and we'll make sure that you know how to protect confidentiality, how to make sure no data leaks that shouldn't, and we will obviously get rid of that fear that you need training and that you might blunder. You will have complete confidence, I promise, by the end of this. So why come on the course? I'm going to take you through it in a minute in terms of what we're doing from a curriculum viewpoint, but these are just my key arguments. This will help you grow your practice. Yeah, we are going to do sales and marketing as part of it. Yeah, and because of the efficiency, because of the quality, because of the other gains in terms of customer experience and reduced churn, it should help you improve your operating margins. Not going to say you're going to notice that in month one. And maybe if only 2 or 3 of you are coming on the course and you've got 200 people in the practice, obviously it's not going to make a notable impact. However, if you're in a practice of 26 people and 24 of you are coming on this, it's going to make an enormous impact. And you will, I fully expect to see a change in your operating margins. If you're more of a lone practitioner, it will help future-proof your career. You'll certainly be gaining new superpowers. You'll be able to do things that you couldn't do before. I hope some of you have already seen some of the micro learnings that we've put online, and you see how some of those superpowers work. You can certainly start offloading repetitive tasks, and ultimately, I really think you're going to enjoy the training and then enjoy your job more afterwards. As I said, I'm having the time of my life over the last 2 years doing this stuff. It is incredibly stimulating. It's incredibly satisfying. It really does tie into psychology. And yeah, lots of people we know have been energized and thrilled by their work again when perhaps things had got a little dull. So hopefully we can do that for you too. So just to take you through what we'll be doing, I'm just checking the time to see how long we've got left. Good, we've got a good 12 minutes. We've got enough time to go through this in some detail. So obviously, content is what a lot of us do all day, every day. And when I say content, it's from simple reports to I don't know what's happened there. I have no idea. Let me refresh the page. Oh, there we go. We're back. Content can be from simple emails, client reports, updates. It's the stuff that we do every day. So here with content, it's a much broader thing. We're not talking about sales content or marketing content. We're just talking about the written word in terms of in which, as an advisor, obviously they are your key tools. So we want to make sure that you can be compliant and everything that you are doing with words is absolutely compliant, and we will build some tools for that. We also want to make it quick. We want to make it precise. But by the same token, you need to adopt your tone of voice. You know how you talk. It needs to sound like you. And, a lot of people again say, I don't use AI because it doesn't sound like me. I can show you how to make it sound like you. That needn't be the case. You can have a practice tone of voice. You can have your own individual tone of voice. I will show you how to modulate that and check for compliance right out of the gate. This does save people hours. Now, every lecture we do, will also have an initial section where we'll be building an AI use policy together. So in this first lecture, focused on content, we'll start with that, and we'll look at the purpose of an AI use policy, and we'll start defining that because that needs to be in the policy. We'll look at the scope, the key definitions, and roles and responsibilities. And then we'll crack on to the good stuff. So we'll look about how you can create a style guide. different tones of voice, an informal tone of voice that's still relevant and compliant, formal, a more marketing one. So again, you will learn how to vary those. And if you've got others you want to create, you will know how to do that. And then we'll actually create a tone of voice skill to do that. And then, because you need to be compliant, we'll actually make a skill that is a compliance validator. So everything you write will go through that skill and make sure that it's compliant. Now, obviously, you remain the human in the loop. The machine may not spot something. It may not always give you the right advice. So, of course, this isn't about automation. This isn't about being able to put something in, get something out, and send it off without your review. Clearly, that's not the case. But these skills will make sure that it happens quickly, it's really close, and sometimes spot on, often spot on. But clearly, you'll still need to look at that. And what we'll also do is we'll do a knowledge base, which means that you can create any kind of content. Yeah, we'll combine those two skills and really show you how to cut that time down and show you how to share all of that good stuff with colleagues as well. So lecture 2 will be based on data, which will start to get a little more, kind of like a little more detailed. And, I want to show you how to transform those complex data sets into actual wisdom. Yeah, we're going to be able to clean data, analyze it, interpret it, reveal patterns and trends. Yeah, find instant summaries, correlations, and hypothesize causes as well. So yeah, you will discover best practices for data anonymization and privacy as well. Of course, as we will with every lecture, we'll start off with building an AI use policy. So in this one, we'll talk about the core principles in terms of how we use AI, and we'll build those up. You can take that right back into your practice, and we'll look at approved and prohibited tools as well. And I'll give you some steer about which tools are naturally very secure, able to work with sensitive data, and those that you might want to avoid. So ultimately, yeah, during the session, you'll learn how to clean and validate data, analyze financial information and client risk. So we'll really get into the meat of your everyday. I'll show you how to generate some dashboards and infographics. Really fortunate when you guys are taking this. We say this every time I have a new intake. The recent wave of AI capabilities will have increased. No difference here. Massive increase just before Christmas. And now actual kind of infographics, dashboards, all very, very, very realizable via AI. And also another big thing that happened, I think it was just before Christmas, I played with it over the new year, certainly, was Claude for Excel. So not necessarily great. So I'll show you other ways of doing it, but not, Claude we cannot trust in terms of handling our most sensitive data. So it's not for every task, but Microsoft have plugged Claude from Anthropic, that LLM, into Excel, and the things it can achieve are utterly remarkable. So I'll show you a subset of use cases where you can actually effectively use Claude for Excel. However, in the meantime, press that, don't put sensitive data in, but press that button where you've got non-sensitive data when you're looking to do analysis. It's really powerful. It's really good. It can do a lot of stuff. So lecture 3 will be marketing. Yeah. And how can we improve your marketing using AI? You guys are not trained marketers. Wouldn't suggest that you should be or would be, but effectively, if you use AI properly, it is like having a marketing team on board. The great thing about AI is it's an expert if you know how to use it properly in almost every subject in the world, and marketing obviously is no exception. So I will work with you, to make sure that you know how to increase your practice's visibility, how we can increase client engagement, how you can kind of make sure that your clients, you're really getting underneath their needs, anticipating their needs, and perhaps using that to make sure that their financial planning is as good as it can possibly be. We're even going to do stuff like simulating audience reactions. I'll show you how to test and refine messaging so that when you do marketing, it is far more effective. So we'll start off, obviously, with the use case thing in lecture 3. We'll talk about permitted use cases, what you can and what you can't do. And then we'll talk about the problem of client disclosure and transparency. Yeah, it's not a problem, but you do need to tackle it. What do you do? And again, there are various ways and levels that you could use there, and I'll talk you through the options. And then we will be on to really kind of doing that marketing bit. I'll show you how to create a whole knowledge base to create your marketing materials. I'll show you how to analyze your clients in terms of making sure that the messaging is right. We'll do persona and groupings. I'll show you how to produce an entire 12-month plan to market to your existing base. We'll illustrate that with how-to guides, emails, social medias. So immediately from in this whole thing, in this single lecture, we will get a 12-month plan and we'll start the execution of that. And then I'll show you how to do surveys and revisions of all of those things, doing synthetic surveys to make sure that messaging is absolutely spot on. So by that point, we will be halfway through the series. Lecture 4, however, will be sales. I really want to make sure that you we're doing this from a client-based place. So understanding their needs, recognizing their vulnerabilities and working out who to talk to, how to talk to them, the opportunities that will help both you, obviously, with your revenue, but them also with their financial planning and their future. That's really good. So when we're whether we're thinking about selling new things to existing clients or attracting new people into the practice, we will cover that and give you a full plan and show you how to use AI. Obviously, the AI use policy will go over again, and that will be governance. We'll do that section there, and then a full AI enabled way of doing sales, from understanding customer needs, assessing your digital estate, how good is it, how ready is it to go for sales, and then we'll look at how do we create an emotional journey, that connects with our customers and their needs, across a sales journey. How does that work? I'll show you how to make a creds deck. Again, relatively new, being able to do properly designed, nicely formatted presentations in AI. Again, it's only been around for a couple of months. I'll show you how to do that, how to make a referral campaign so you can turn your existing customers into referrers and increase sales that way. Obviously, a recommendation is always the place to start with a new sales campaign. And I'll show you how to do some audience role play as well. You'll literally during the sales journey, you'll be able to kind of pitch ideas to people, see how they react, and then practice any objection handling as well. So that role play is a really powerful tool, and also will tie into helping you understand customer needs as well and kind of the nuance of it. So lecture 5 is then HR. Obviously, with a full practice, it's something that we perhaps we're not able to spend time on. So I imagine, I know that any help AI can give you, we can reduce the time spent there, yet be more effective at the same time. So we'll look from the recruitment process right through to the selection and the onboarding process. Obviously, we need to be careful with HR because we're using sensitive data and we can't allow automation in any way, shape, or form. That would be wrong. We have to remain the human in the loop at all points, but still, we can do so much with the tool. So we'll start off, as ever, with the AI use policy, and we'll talk about instant response if something's gone wrong. What should people do? What should you do? That needs to be part of your policy. So we'll cover that off there, and then we will climb inside. We'll create an HR knowledge base. We'll probably create two, actually. We will create two. One will be an employment law one, and another one will be kind of internal policies that will also help you write job descriptions, equal opportunity statements, show example CVs for any open new positions, and then create the job ads themselves. We'll also show you how to do screening questions, response to templates, how to get a view of CVs that are coming in. Again, not an automated process. You won't be based on the selection, but the AI will be able to show you kind of, get into the CVs and highlight the good bits, the less good bits, and maybe the interview questions that you need to ask given the specific CVs. So, I often use this in, when I'm interviewing. It's massively helpful. Again, you have to be in the human in the loop. You have to make sure there's no bias here. You have to challenge it and make sure it's right. But I'm going to show you how to do that. It can also help you draft internal policies, create knowledge bases, and do training materials as well. So there's going to be a really full HR model. It's going to be quite the hour. I would brace for impact on module 5. There's going to be a lot in it. And then we'll get to the really fun stuff. Once I've built your skills in terms of all of that stuff, you'll be ready for some advanced stuff. Yeah, so there's so much new stuff coming on stream, so much deeper stuff you can do. So whilst for the most of it, we'll be working with the LLMs. So please, before you come on the course, you're going to need a subscription for at least one of them. Two are preferable, but at least one of them. So I would recommend Gemini. I would recommend Claude from Anthropic. I would recommend ChatGPT from OpenAI, and of course, many of you will also have access to Copilot. So if you've got Copilot, which is improving, it's not the best yet. It will get there, I've no doubt, and it's very usable now. But if you've got Copilot, then it would be great if you also had one other. But a paid subscription. Don't use the free subscriptions, because just like social media, if we're not paying for the product, we are the product. Our data is probably being harvested in ways that we wouldn't like. So anyway, with that caveat in mind, 6 will really build on the foundations that we've got, and we'll look across product due diligence, compliance, and risk awareness, and I'll teach you skills in how to do deep research, how to use Notebook LM, which is a fantastic solution, how to use Claude skills. We will have touched on that, but we'll go deep into Claude skills, which means we can do all sorts of things. We'll even get into a little bit of systems development. Yeah, genuinely, you can now develop a web app and launch it and use it, even if it's just a single use for something. But it's remarkable what it's going to allow you to do. I'll also talk through the mega prompt in terms of when we use really large prompts and string them together almost into a single workflow. I promise lecture 6 is going to blow your mind. So, have I landed it? I'm 2 minutes over, but that does leave us 13 minutes for questions.
Yeah.
So apologies for that. But yeah, anyone got anything I can help them with at this point?
Yeah, brilliant. Scott, thanks a million. And there was absolutely plenty of information there for everybody. And just before we actually jump into the questions, I just want to say that the course is currently open for registrations. And if you scan the QR code there in the screen, it'll bring you to the AI Accelerator webpage where you can enroll. And as I mentioned earlier, there will be 45% funding for the course through Tech Northwest SkillNet. And more information on this will be available on the webpage later on today. And if you would like more information or any help registering for the course, you can just email us at education@laa.ie. So yeah, we'll just jump into the questions here, and we have a few. So somebody just asked, does the course look at running an office admin system, especially for small practices?
So as such, directly, no, but the skills that you pick up will enable you, will enable you to do that. But directly, will that be something we tackle? No, it won't. But you will be able to do that as a result of that. And I'd be more than happy if that's something you're looking to do. I'd be more than happy to spend some time with you, aside after the course, and I could just we could talk through what you're looking to achieve and make sure you can slot that in. So if that's the reason why you want to come on the course, we'll work out a way that, given the skills you've got, I'll help you piece it all together at the end.
Brilliant, yeah. And I know you covered maybe part of this question, Scott, but I'll just ask it in case we've missed anything. Do you have a syllabus agenda for the course, and what AI systems do we use? So Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, and do we need a subscription for these? And then the second part of the question, can you give an outline of the key areas advisors benefit from?
So certainly. So I think I've covered you need a paid subscription. And Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude plus Copilot, I would say they were the good ones. Must be paid. Do not use them when they're not just on their free services, not in our line of work, not in your line of work. And in terms of the outline of the key areas advisors benefit from, I mean, it literally, in terms of when we've talked you through what we're doing here, just generating content, just your everyday, everything from your everyday. I need to get this done. To I'm doing, I'm working on a plan for a client. I need to create a report. There, it would be easier to talk through the things that it won't help with. Ultimately, yeah, I now there's very little that I do that doesn't touch AI. And having worked with financial advisors before, I know financial advisors where that's absolutely the same. So what I'm going to give you are the core skills that we won't have time in 6 hours to extend that through everything you do, but you will be taking away the core skills that will allow you to apply it to each task and then string that together into your workflows. So the way that we're going to teach this, yeah, it's not just going to be very specific that you use this prompt to do this and this prompt to do this. What I'm going to teach you is the principles of prompting so you can understand when you've got anything you want to do, how you can apply those principles to achieving that task and that workflow. So, yeah, 6 hours isn't enough to teach you everything specifically about each thing, but you will pick up the skills that you will need to know across the entirety of your work.
Brilliant. Someone just asked, I'm a professional trustee rather than a financial advisor. Is the course going to be useful for me?
I mean, I genuinely think so. I obviously need to know more detail about exactly what you do. But again, what we're doing is we're doing those core skills and we're teaching the generic ability to apply AI to play AI in almost any profession. Obviously, we're tailoring that for financial advisors. But you will definitely pick up all of the skills you need to apply that within your work. So I would say absolutely yes.
And someone just asked what dates are the update sessions on. So we'll be able to email you a few months beforehand when the dates have been confirmed, just to let people know in advance. But the first update session will be approximately 5 months from now, and then the second update will be early next year. I think that's all the questions that have come through. So yeah, I suppose if you did have any other questions or anything like that, please, do reach out to us in LIA or to Scott as well. And if that is all the questions, I suppose I'd like to just wrap up now, I suppose, and thank everyone for joining us this morning, and to thank Scott for a very informative session. And just a reminder that we will be contacting everyone after with a copy of the recording of the webinar. So if you do have further questions, again, just reach out to us. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for your time all.